Hello, rock fans! I'm Falco from the German YouTube channel Zocket, and today I have the honor to present you a small ranking of the currently available evolving buildings in the game. But before we start, be sure to subscribe to this channel so you won't miss any future videos. And now, let's get started with my top 6 evolving buildings and rise of cultures in spring 2022. To give you a brief introduction to evolving buildings. This building type contains buildings that you can gain mainly in events, but also, for example, in the weekly Alliance Treasure Hunt. To increase the level of these buildings, you need to collect tokens in the corresponding events or game modes, which you can use to upgrade them. When you upgrade an evolving building, its appearance changes up to level 10, its effects can increase, and sometimes new effects are added. For production, you don't need workers, and you can collect the building every 24 hours. The effects, as well as the independence from workers, make these buildings the best in the game. But which of these are the best? Number 6. Trojan Horse. The Trojan Horse is a relatively new building from the Hercules event 2022. Since the effects on level 1 are negligible for almost all buildings and you can usually reach level 10 without the use of gems, we will also look at the effects of this level in particular, with regard to the potential that the building can still unfold after this level. Unfortunately, the Trojan Horse is one of the worst performers. Almost all evolving buildings have a single research point at level 10, but in addition, this building unfortunately only has 200 of the primary goods. That means, of all things, the goods that can already be produced in the city in several production facilities at the same time. It would always be much more interesting to produce secondary or tertiary goods, since these can be produced in only one production facility and thus much more slowly. The development of the research points after level 10 also leaves something to be desired, as they only increase to 5 points at level 40. However, this building has to be credited for the enormous increase in goods production to 467 at level 40. Number 5. Celtic Brock. The Celtic Brock is another building fresh from the Celtic event 2022. Compared to all other buildings, here we find not only a random research production, but also a random reward, which can be not only coins or resources, but also a random barracks refill item to replenish all barracks of a certain unit type. What sounds promising and exciting at first, unfortunately turns out to be rather meager compared to other buildings. At level 10, you only get barracks refill every 17 days on average, so not even twice a month. Considering that you can get these tickets in many other places in the game, like Alliance Treasure Hunt or events, it's rather negligible. Whereas the frequency increases to an average of every 5.5 days at level 40. The random research point production of 1.6 research points at level 10 is above the average of the other evolving buildings, but offers little potential in further development. Production increases to just 3.6 research points at level 40, which is even less than the Trojan Horse. However, this is compensated by an identical production of goods at level 10, but of secondary goods, which saves trading, and an even slightly better production at level 40. Number 4. Hydra Monument. Although the Hydra Monument is the predecessor building of the Trojan Horse from the Hercules event 2021, it is even slightly higher in my list. The reason for this can be found in an additional research point at level 41, as well as the production of all goods of the building's age. This production is less than half at level 10 and a little less than 2/3 at level 40, but I rate the diversity of goods a little higher than the quantity, as this saves the detour via trade and thus time. Number 3. Mad Scientist's Lab. This building comes from the Halloween event 2021 and has the highest research point production of all evolving buildings. However, not until level 41, where they increase to a full 8 points. At level 10, unfortunately, this building can also only join the average with a production of 1 point. However, with 162 goods of all 3 types, it even surpasses the production of the Hydra Monument by 33 goods at level 10 and by 72 goods at level 41. Number 2. Winter Market. The strong production of the Mad Scientist's lab is only surpassed by the Winter Market. It adds another 21 goods on level 10 and 99 goods on level 40. In return, however, you have to do without the research point production completely. The additional culture boost cannot compensate for this alone, but with 1 to 3 additional workers, the Winter Market has a unique selling point among the evolving buildings and offers one of the most valuable resources in the game. Workers. Number 1. Pirate Fortress. Right off the bat, the Pirate Fortress is not the best research point producer and doesn't even offer goods. The culture boost is the greatest of all evolving buildings, and no other building has a recruitment time boost of up to 33%. But none of this legitimizes its first place in this ranking. The real reason for the victory lies in the winning of this building. Instead of being won in a timed event, the Pirate Fortress can be won in the weekly Alliance Treasure Hunt. This means that all players can get this building to the highest level without using gems. This does require a lot of time and regular participation in the treasure hunt, but the fact that this is possible puts the building in my number 1 spot. How do you think the brand new Persian Palace will fit in this ranking? Tell us in the comments of this video. Feel free to give the video a like if you enjoyed it and like our Facebook page to never miss any Rise of Cultures videos. See you soon!